Right. So my thing with betting is, there are some games you can play when you're a DB, but when you come from where we come from, there are some games you shouldn't play, because when you go into the trenches, you are done. That's it. Nobody's coming to bail you. Diligence is not only about working hard, but also committing yourself till you see the establishment of your vision. I'm not going to take 50,000, 10,000, 100,000 of my hard-earned money and going to put it into Lionel Messi's hands. That Messi, do it again. I need to be in control of my own life, and if I'm going to make money, I have to make that investment into myself and be in control of my destiny. Betting is you putting your livelihood in somebody's hands.
Welcome to another amazing episode. This episode is going to transform your life. We have one of my mentors, one of the people that I look up to. I've sat under this person for a long time. The words of this person has transformed me and has guided me to where I am. I still go to this person each and every single day for advice, for motivation, for everything. Let's welcome on today's episode Godfred K.
You introduce me as if I'm your father.
Yeah. Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. It's an honor to be here with you.
It's an honor to have you here.
And like I love what you're doing, especially with this platform. Like I've watched the episodes, and I think this is like a wonderful initiative. And I just say keep going.
I'm very, very, very much honored. You know, I remember having the initial conversation with you about wanting to start this, and you telling me that this is something that I need to do. And I always say you need to have people in your life that you're accountable to. You can't just go around sharing ideas and not do them. These people put fire at your back, right? So there are so many people that are online that do not know who you are. So who is Kara?
Okay, so I was born, if you go on my Ghana card, the name is Godfred Kwesi Bafo Obey, right? And you're wondering why the name Kara. So for those of you who don't know, also I do music, right? So Kara is the name I go with in the trio, in the group that I'm in. That's the King's Crew, right? So that's where Kara is from.
You'll be dropping the freestyle today, so just prepare yourself. I'm just saying.
No, the style is not free. But yeah, so who is Kara? Kara is let me start from here. One is a young boy who's been greatly helped by God, and looking to make a lot of impact in the lives of people, and bless people with what I've also received. And I'm still very much on my way, and I don't think I'm one of those people who want to wait to get there before. I'd love to share bits and pieces of my journey as I go on, so that we can help as many people as possible, especially on our continent. So yeah, basically that's who I am.
What do you stand for?
What do I stand for? I love that statement. There's a saying that if you don't stand for anything, you fall for everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. So one, I stand for a lot of godly values, because God is very central in my life. But I stand for excellence. I stand for diligence. I stand for wealth, of course, because money be the reason why we're here, right?
Yeah.
And yeah. So basically, those are the major things.
So I want us to pick these three things that you stand for. Then we go into them a bit. Okay. When you say you stand for excellence, what do you mean by that? What does excellence mean to you?
Okay, so basically, when we're talking about excellence, now in everything you are doing or everything you commit yourself to do, there is a standard, right? There's a standard that is acceptable. For example, let's say you go to the restaurant to go and buy wachi. There is a standard taste that wachi is supposed to have, right? That's the standard. If it doesn't taste like that, for example, you go and buy the rice is not brown, it's almost white. It's not wachi at that point. It's rice and beans.
But what if the wachi is saying, "This is how I am"? This is how they made
Again, you don't determine the standard. The market sets the standard, right? So you can't say, "Oh no, this is the standard has already been set before you go here." So this is what Wache is. Excellence is looking at the standard and going beyond the standard.
I like that statement. You look at the camera. That's your camera.
All right.
And yes.
So
excellence is
one, knowing the standard and going exceedingly abundantly above the standard. Yeah.
You cannot say just because this is how I am, so the market has to accept my standard.
No. It's not a relationship. Even in a relationship, you can't do that. You can't say, "Oh, baby, this is how I am." This is so. Just the only person who takes you as you are is Jesus. And even Jesus, after taking you as you are, he changes you. So yeah, don't do that.
You don't do that. Okay. Yeah. And you said diligence. What does diligence mean to you personally?
Good. So you can't achieve excellence if you are not diligent. So diligence is not only about working hard, but also committing yourself to lifelong study and lifelong execution till you see the establishment of your vision. So if, for example, the goal is to be the number one podcast or the go-to platform for people that are looking for empowerment, elevation, right? What that means is that Nana Bekwin has to, for example, rent this studio, even though he's not feeling like it, get people to come and shoot, talk to guests, now understand the YouTube algorithm, upload his first video, get 5 views, not be shaken by that, look at what he did wrong, tweak, shoot another, until that number one thing happens. You don't stop. That is diligence.
I keep telling people that this YouTube thing, this was the most difficult thing I've ever done. I've done a lot. I've done a lot of work. I've put myself in a lot of things, a lot of spaces. But this YouTube thing is the most difficult thing I've ever done. And somebody said, "Then why won't you stop?" And I was like, well, after I have 100 videos, I have 100 videos in me, I keep saying. Immediately I put out 100 videos and I'm still not seeing results. That's the only time I'm allowed to maybe take a step back and reevaluate. But before 100 videos, I don't have any right to say anything else. Well, I think...
I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. Because a lot of people don't have that. What you said, that's awesome. A lot of people, okay, I want to be a YouTuber. They upload their first video, maybe it's a vlog. All right. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Come with me to shop at the market. Then the video gets 2 views. Then they shoot another one, it gets 26. Then they shoot another one, it gets 3 views. Then they quit. But how did you get that? Okay, no, I'm going to do 100. I'm going back to 100 episodes. It's not small.
No. Yeah, because it's difficult, right? So right now you're interviewing me, but because it's difficult, and something that I realized late last year, that we need to do something difficult. If you don't put yourself in a difficult situation, life will put you in a difficult situation. So you have to pick your own battles and do something that is difficult. And I realized that the more comfortable life gets, the more you try and relax. So I try and do something very difficult every day. That is just that. But not for you to interview me today. I need to get back to you. And another thing you stand for, you said godly values. Yeah. Right. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, first of all, God is everything. God is everything. I was a young gentleman born, I wasn't, you know how they say you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Some people were born with a Bible in their hand. Yes, I was born into a church, like, no matter what, Sunday, you have to be in church. There's no
an option.
Yeah, definitely. But that period of my life was the farthest I was from God. Right?
Wow.
I can't remember like one.
Just because, wow, that's very thought provoking. Just because you were born in a Christian family, that doesn't necessarily mean you're close to God.
No, not at all, not at all. I was going to church. They said that's where God lives. I never met him there.
Wow. Wow, but that's speaking a lot to me.
Yeah, but that's not really like the fault of the church or anything. That was me. I had to come to know God for myself, and so I just bless God for the lives of people that God used to, change my life. Much respect to Bishop Charisma, Ben Evangel, Brother Alex, people who took us from scratch too. And where I am now, I'll say it started with God, because there are certain things that, looking at your environment where you grow up from, there are certain things that you don't think are possible. Like I didn't even know it was possible for people to buy companies. Like, you can buy companies. Like the pinnacle of like success was like, okay, you finish school, you get a job, like you are set.
You know, I've come to understand, and I always tell people, you know, when we go to school to go and talk to these high school kids, that is one of the biggest scams that has ever been delivered to us, because it never works it that way. Who has ever? Well, I know a couple of rich kids that works like that for, but it's just a couple of people in the pond, right? Who just stands up, goes to school, gets married to the woman of their dreams, and just starts working. And I was talking to Reagan on the previous interview that some of these things require special attention and extra effort to make happen. So for you to come and say that just because, you know, this is the narrative, I'm going to school, and Charlie, people are saying people wanted to be married by 23, 22. Right now they are 40. Well, it's no shit to anybody. Right. So I think right now we understand the car personality.
Yeah.
I just want to get a bit into what you do, and then we move into the reason for this episode.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What do you do? What takes most of your time?
You see the Snapchat sound that says I do what I like. Yeah. So basically my day to day, or let me take you to like a day in my life, right? So a day in the life of Kara. So wake up in the morning, first look at marketing campaigns to see how they are doing. So that gives you a fair idea of what I do. By 10, I have a strategy session with my team. By 12, I have another Zoom meeting, right, with another team. And then I spend the rest of the day writing content, because that's a lot of where my work is. So in a nutshell, I'm a copywriter, or should I say started as a copywriter, and then moved to paid advertising, and then funnels, and now I'm basically a full stack digital marketer or digital strategist. So that's what I do.
Wow. Is that what you studied in school?
Oh no. The school story, I went to school for landscape design in KNUST.
What does that have to do with?
Yeah, it's night and day. Night and day. Okay, let me share the story. So how I ended up in this whole digital marketing, it wasn't intentional per se. Right, so a group of friends with a man of God, there was a business that we started called the So-Am Stores online, and what we did was sell jerseys, and I was kind of put in charge of the social media page with another person, and so what we had to do was just think of ways to, and this is when Instagram was very organic, to think of ways to get the products to move. And I don't know why, but it seems like the ideas I always used to come up with would help, and things were selling. So right there, I knew that, there was something there. So I went up online, I read about it. Oh, there's this thing called social media marketing, blah, blah, blah. And as God will have it, you said something. Life can put you in a difficult situation. I found myself in a difficult situation. Looking back now, it wasn't a difficult situation, right? But like, you're in school, you're in level 200, 300. Even if you're owing 1K, it's a lot. So then I was in a situation where I needed to come up with some money, and I was like, I need to draw a game plan. Okay, as far as I know, I mean, I've not graduated from this landscape.
Yeah.
I'm barely like even good at it yet, because we're still learning. But I know this is something that I can do. So why not, ring up business owners, tell them this is what I do, try to get some contracts, and then. So basically, that's what I did, and it worked out better than I expected, and so that's how it started. And then from there, we moved online, and we're here today.
Wow, that's quite beautiful. So I think this has set the foundation for what I really want to do today.
Okay.
I want us to look at something, right? I like how, even though you went to school and you studied something, you still ended up adding value to yourself. So I just want us to discuss, that's one of the main reasons I invited you here today, because I know you are big on value, right? What do we mean by adding value to oneself? Let's say somebody is in level 200, He has to find a way to come up with some money. Let's just put somebody in your scenario in this current market. He has to put some money in his market. What in his pocket? What can he do to add value to himself? How can he become independent? Like as a young man, as a young lady, what is the way up for such a person?
Okay, so I would start first with the mindset, right? Like, let's take that situation I was in. If you're in that situation, I would tell you to pause, because as much
Can I know how much you were owing?
bro, I won't mention it. So nobody can ask me questions after. I think, and I don't know, but if you ever came to my washroom when we were in uni, right? There are some people who maybe don't remember. If you go to the washroom, right, I had sticker papers all over, and the amount there was 13,700.
No, that's a den.
Yeah, mind you, then I was spending 300 CDs a month.
But what happened? Was it like a business venture? What happened? How did you end up in so much debt?
Yeah. It's something that didn't have to do with me. Collaborations with some people gone wrong. Yeah, which I mean for their safety or for their, I wouldn't be able to go into. But yeah, so that was it. A venture gone wrong. But since I'm the one who brought the money and sourced money from places, I had to replace it. Yeah, so that's how that happened. Okay. So I was saying, so if you find yourself in that situation, first calm down. Calm down, because if you are desperate, you'll make mistakes. Don't be desperate. Calm down. They say when you're in a hole, the first thing you should do is stop digging. Right? So for example, if maybe yours was not like mine, it wasn't like a business venture, you maybe went to borrow money from people and to do something and it failed. The solution isn't to go and borrow money from another person.
I'm still digging a hole.
Again, you're still putting yourself in. So think long term. All right. No, there's a saying that no problem can be solved by the same level of consciousness that created it. Right. So if you're still in the same states, it's going to be a problem. You need to now look further. Okay. So this is the problem, right? How do I get out of this problem and make sure I never come back here again? Right?
Mindset.
Good. And that is where the value conversation comes in. So it's not just about the problem, it's about you, the person. To make sure that you become the type of person that doesn't find himself or herself in these types of situations. And if you ever find yourself in this type of situation again, you are going to be able to get out. So long-term thinking. So what are some of the things that I can do? One, skills. Because people, they can take your car away. We talk a lot about assets and liabilities. People can take your car away. Your house can burn down. But you have money in an ETF, or you have money in like a mutual fund, or you have money in it can disappear. And given the state of our current, economy, anything can happen. But what nobody can take away from you is what you learn, which is your skills. So definitely skills. First thing, think about skills. Then I'd say network, because whatever you are learning, you have to sell it to somebody, right? So you find people that you can sell this to, right? And that is the simple: learn something, sell to others. Learn something, sell to others. And if you're able to do that easily, you'll find yourself being able to take care of all those small issues. And at the point when they are gone, all you have is just money rolling in. So you'll be good. Just don't be desperate.
So, like, let's say I live in a 1-bedroom somewhere, right? I have no money coming in from Adam. I don't know any man. I don't know any connections, nothing. I'm looking to earn 10,000 cedis a month. Is that possible?
Very possible.
Wow. Okay. So let's map the framework you're talking about.
Okay.
What skills would you advise? Number one, where do I get those skills? What framework? Let's say somebody comes to you, Charlie, Mr. Kara, I they bleed. Like I have no money coming in. You see online, Charlie, this is a big issue in our country. We have so many people learning things that are not marketable or are not sellable.
Yeah.
So many people are learning things, so many skills online, etc. that is not adding any value to the current market. Those things don't get me wrong about what you're studying in school. those things may have been very valuable in the previous markets, but we understand that market is a dynamic and market is something that changes. So what skills would you advise people to go after? Number one, how should they market those skills? So let's get a good roadmap from 0 Ghana cedis to 10,000 cedis.
From 0 Ghana to 10K. Okay. So now one thing I don't like about like content creation especially is that, you know, sometimes when people are here, like in this position I'm in, they tend to oversimplify things, right? I don't want to do that. And I say, oh, these people, they are rich and they just get money. They're talking. Oh no, one, I'm not rich yet, right? And I understand the economic situation in Ghana. Like, me too, I feel wow, right? But the reason why this type of content exists is so that you can know that it's possible. So as we're discussing this, I just want you to like just open your mind to it. Don't just think, oh, because if you are making like 1,500 cedis a month and somebody's talking about 10K, it's like you can't fathom what that is like. But like, just be open-minded, right? First thing I'll say is, if you are in a one-bedroom, question, is this person just out of school or they have some years of experience?
Let's just say the person is still in school.
Okay, let's say the person is still in school. So what I'd say is, one, you're not going to get it through a job, right? So if you have a job, forget it. Your job is not going to give you 10K a month.
Even though there are some jobs that can still give you 10K a month. But you're in school. So.
Entry level in Ghanaian company, adult.
I doubt. Okay.
Adult.
Okay, for our scenario, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Exactly. It's not going to happen. I just want to, you know, unless you are the 1% out of the 1%. With that 1%, that means, you know, your dad knows him who's here, who will give you that, right? For most people, that's not going to happen through a job. So you have to be entrepreneurial, right? So for example, let's say I learned, let's pick a random skill. Okay, so as I'm here, I don't know anything, but I have a friend who has a camera. Okay, so I decided to use his camera to start learning photography. All right. So an average, and I know a couple of people who have weddings coming up. Maybe my brother's wedding is coming up. I learned the photography, go to the event, I shoot for them for free. It's my brother. Make sure I do the best work I can. Next, package this. This is my portfolio. Now I go out there and I pitch. So how much do I charge for wedding photography? Okay, I'm starting. So, bro, wedding photographers for Ghana, they charge.
They charge past type C.
Photographers are part of the reason why men are not getting married in this country. Hot take. I'll die on this hill. but yeah, so okay, so let's say we're going to charge 2,000 cedis for it. So it's just maths, okay? So 10,000 cedis a month. Can I do 5 weddings in a month? No, if all those weddings are on weekends. But if you have some weekday gigs, sure. But let's say we are working on only weekends because we are students. We have only weekends free. So let's say then I can do only 4 gigs. Okay, but I'm trying to make 10K. So we do the maths. 10 divided by 4. That means I need to charge 2,500 per gig, right? If not, I'm going to have to do more gigs. So now the point is, I need to now find 4 people who are going to pay me that 2,500 to get 10K. And that's all the work. So you need to now do the breakdown and then I'll actually go out there to find people to sell it to. This same framework applies to whether you're doing social media marketing, social media management, paid ads, you're literally almost any service. Even if you are mowing lawns, the same framework applies. You look at what you want to make divided by, you know, the amount of time you have, because in a service business, your most valuable asset is your time, right? It's not like a product business. And then see how many gigs you can do, and you sell that. So
let's touch on. We'll come back, but I just want you to touch a bit on what a product business is and what a service business is.
Okay,
and which is more advisable in the current Ghanaian climate?
Okay. I think both of them work like in different. So basically, if we look at Kivo, right? Kivo is a heavy product-based business. They have the product, right, which they distribute through a value chain system, right? And you are just buying Kivo Gary, your Gary, that's it. And there's no promise there can be a brand promise, but it's not like service, where service, somebody is taking their time to perform an activity for you. So an example of a service business, photography is a service business, lawn care is a service business, cleaning is a service business, your mechanic is in a service business. So anything that requires your skills and your time, so you are paying directly for the person's time and the person's knowledge, that's a service business. But if we're looking at something that somebody has designed, Nike, it's a product. Shoes, your watch, product. So like, let's say Rolex, right? They are product. Versace, product. So I would say for me, this is not a blanket, I won't
fit one size fits all.
Yeah, it's not a one size fits all thing. I wouldn't use my experience to teach you what to do. But if you're starting on your own, you don't have any capital, you don't have any connections, I wouldn't advise you to start a product business. I would never advise you to start a product business, because for product businesses to work, you need an intense amount of capital. You need a good distribution system. You need proper branding. You need the right team. There are a lot of things that you need to get right in order to be able to be successful with a product business. Today, maybe social media can help a bit, right? But you still need to maintain certain level of cost. So I'd always advise that sell your skills first, and then you can funnel that money into
a product business.
Exactly. So that's what I'd advise.
Okay. So I want to. Okay. Well, I love that a lot. So looking at what skills are easiest to market, and then we can have the highest, income, right? Because I know you do a lot of marketing, and I've glanced at your accounts balance before, so there's
nothing in there. There's nothing.
That's a beautiful balance, but and you do mainly marketing, right? So I know that can be heavy for such income, right? So what other skills would you advise people to say, Charlie, you're at home, you did this, you're not getting a job. Getting a product business at this time might just require capital to go and buy products. What services should you, and let's say 500 cedis, 1,000 cedis. What courses or what skills should you invest in yourself or start with, or should you go and see somebody to understudy to start working on now that can get you to 10K a month?
Okay, so let's say you want to get to 10K a month. Listen, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Don't rush. Just because 1 month, 2 months, I didn't see anything, so I shone. When I tried to move online, I got started on Fiverr. It took me about 6 months to get my first client. My first gig was $20.
After 6 months?
Yeah, best $20 I ever made. Yeah. So don't because it doesn't work 1 month, 2 months, you feel like you're gonna give up. Now, if you have 500 CDs, just do what I did. I actually had that 500 CDs, and what I did with that money was I bought a course
on Fiverr.
Yeah, on how to do Fiverr, right? On how to sell your skills on Fiverr.
Was it good?
It was very good, right? But I think the guy that I bought the course from, Bim Remilao, is a Nigerian dude. One thing he was doing then that I think helped me more than the course was when you were buying the course, he gave you they call it an upsell, right? But you get the opportunity to pay for or book a one-on-one consultation with him, right? So we had that conversation and we spoke. I asked him a lot of questions that were on my mind. He was very plain, very honest, didn't promise too much. And he said something. He said, for every investment I make, I expect to make about at least 100 times what I put in. He said, I want you to think of this program like that. Try to make at least 100x on your money. And people think that because maybe you bought a data analyst course, the course that will make you the money. It's not the course that will make you the money. You will make yourself the money. You have to be determined. So I decided, okay, so this is how much I'm putting in. So let's do the math. So 500 times 100. That should be what, 50,000 CDs. So yeah, until I make this amount, I have to keep going. Okay,
so let's look at this. You bought the course. It took you 6 months.
Yeah.
And you got your first $20.
Yeah.
From the $20 to get your money back, how long did that take? Or 100x in your money? Was it that same year or?
Oh, that same year.
That same year. Well, I like that.
Yes.
So let's talk about the freelancing ecosystem in Ghana.
Okay.
Right. Everybody right now, everybody wants to be a freelancer. Everybody wants to do work from home. They wanna
And don't do it, you die early.
because I'm laughing because he knows I've done a lot of work from home freelancing things.
Yeah.
Right, and it can be tough. What what number one? I just need to put our people on game first.
Yeah.
How does one become a freelancer or get some of these online works? You spoke about Fiverr. Are there any other platforms that can help people work from home, become a virtual assistant, whatever it may be? And what are some of the things? Because I know that way back you did some transcription services online.
I didn't do it. I gave them to people to do it.
I know you received some transcription gigs and you gave them out. What other services that people are not looking at but can be very lucrative? Some really key things.
Good, thank you for that. So thank you for mentioning the transcription thing. So like when I go on Fiverr, and I know that a lot of people will be saying, "Oh, this Upwork Fiverr things, it doesn't work." It's because you didn't do the studies, right? For most people, right? So I'd say that you should actually take time to actually learn about the platform and how to make it work. So when I got on there, I was just like looking at what everybody was doing, and then all I was saying was, proofreading and editing, transcription, and people even used to offer, removing the backgrounds of your picture as a gig. So I'll pay me $10, I'll remove the background from your picture. But I mean, today you can just Canva, click and it's gone. But people used to sell that as a service. So me also being very naive and new, I also put all these low paying gigs. But then I realized that these gigs are low paying. It's very hard. It's very hard to sell because like everybody and their mother is doing it. And that's another thing I used to judge value. Your skill is as valuable as how long it'll take a new student to learn it. So, for example, let's say you're a cleaner. And people say, we should pay cleaners more because their work is hard. Agreed, their work is extremely hard. We should pay masons more. Masons actually make a lot of money, by the way. But we should pay masons more. Or we should pay, let's say you're a church mate, more because their work is hard. Like, the sentiment behind it is noble because it's hard work at people. But let's think about it. How long do you think it's going to take me to teach you to be a mate?
If it takes more than an hour, I think it'll be.
Yeah, if it takes more than an hour, I don't know. Something's wrong, right? How long is it going to take me to teach you to be a cleaner? It's not going to be so long, right? Maybe 1 week, right? But can you become a coder in a week? No. You can tell me, no. You even the coders who have been coding for 1 year still don't know what they're doing. You run into new problems every day, like, Charlie,
what is this?
Where from this? You get it. So I decided to just put aside those low paying gigs and look at things that were paying then. So then I realized paid advertising was moving, right? Paid advertising was moving. Copywriting was moving. I wasn't a coder, and I didn't have the bandwidth to sit down and now learn how to code. I'm a more marketing type of guy. So I decided to kind of go in that direction. But that was also like picking up app building, website building, all those types of things. And now what we are seeing on freelance platforms like Fiverr is a lot of gigs that are AI related. Like, for example, so you now have AI content editing, you have AI video editing, AI photography, AI product design. So anything that's AI really, because we are in the AI buzz, right? It's also going to really sell. So I think you should look at gigs like that. And also an underrated tip, look for gigs that you can offer on a recurring basis. Right. So for example, maybe you sell logos. Logo you design one time, that's it. Right. I'm not going to come back for a logo again, unless maybe I'm launching a new product. But if I'm doing social media marketing, next month you need a social media marketing. Next month you need it. So it may look like a $300 gig, but at the end of the year, 300 by 12, 3,600. You're good. So yeah, so look at things that you can do on a recurring basis as well if you're going that route.
What are some early, because I know freelancing can be a steep curve, right? What are some of the early lessons that you learned that you were like, wow, if somebody had told me this earlier, it would have been much easier?
I wish somebody would have told me that one is hard. Yeah, because a lot of people online, glamorize the whole thing. You can be on a beach and be doing your work, but trust me, you don't know how painful it is until you are on the beach and you have to work.
Facts. And I was on vacation October last year. So I was on vacation and I was like, yeah, this is just me on vacation. I did more work than I remember.
You just get a client email. I've been trying to reach you for the past.
Because I was out of the country and my what's it called? My data service hadn't kicked in when I landed. So immediately I connected to the hotel's Wi-Fi. I had like a bunch of emails coming and I had to just get back right. I was by the pool drinking whatever I wanted to drink and I was still working. I was like, oh my God.
You see, that's what I don't get, people who are like, oh, I want to become an entrepreneur because I don't want to work for nobody. I want to control my hours. I want to work whenever I want. Bro, if you become an entrepreneur, you're not going to work whenever you want, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, fact.
That you are going to work whenever you need to work. And if you are jumping out of a 9 to 5, you are jumping into a 24/7.
I've had 2 a.m. calls, 3 a.m. calls.
Bro, I like, what I go, you have a client in Australia. Time difference is 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's afternoon for him. It's midnight for you. Do you want this money or not?
Crazy. So and the exchange rate to be like, oh my God, I can't sleep.
That's the thing.
Yeah, 2022 was hard. Because I think I was still maneuvering the whole freelancing space. I'd not learned how to set my hours. I've not learned a lot of these things. I had clients calling me 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m. I realized I started going to sleep at 6 a.m. Ghana time. And it was crazy. And then after 6 a.m. Ghana time, I go to sleep. I have to wake up early and then go to my morning work, my regular 9 to 5. It was crazy. But, we've learned. So that is a very important lesson. Still at freelancing, right? Would you advise somebody to do freelancing?
Honestly, I would advise everybody to do it.
Even though we are saying it's difficult.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if we're not alive to do difficult things, what are we here for?
Facts.
Right? Like, anything easy is not worth doing because everybody can do it. I remember I was watching a YouTube video. It just popped up on my feed talking about why sometimes you grow up as a kid, you are smart, but as you grow up, you start to feel like you're alone, and and they said something profound, that usually as a child there are certain things that when you do, you start to get compliments. Oh, your boy is very good at this. Oh, he's good at this. Oh, when it comes to this, this is his thing, right? And so you start to associate your value with how good you are at that thing, right? Now, when you throw yourself into something new, the problem with doing new things is that everybody looks stupid at the beginning. Starting a new YouTube channel, like, there's no way you start, and I'm dealing with this myself right now because I wanted to start like a YouTube channel. I've wanted to create content for like a long time, but like, no, I want to keep myself a secret. What if I post, and everybody, and I just had to resolve this with myself recently, like, bro, you're not that important.
Who is everybody?
I mean, and like, yes, maybe I understand a lot of who I am in Christ and as a Christian and all of that, but in the span of the universe, that my first YouTube video is not going to get 1 million views, and that's not me being negative. Nobody's probably going to see it, right? So, just make that peace with yourself. Oh, what if nobody's going to see it? Do 1, do 2, do 3. By the time everybody sees it, you would have gotten good. So that's like something I kind of had to resolve with myself. So with with back to the whole thing about freelancing, I'd say everybody should do it. It's difficult, but do it, because you're going to learn so many skills. So many. The only thing I would say is don't quit a job to go and freelance. At least you can do it. If you have a job, start it on the side. When you realize your income, what you are making is twice. Listen, not that you are matching the income of your job. What you are making is at least twice of what you get from your job. Then you can quit. Because anything can happen in freelancing. So you have to be ready. So don't just start small and then, yeah.
You know, I've never said this before, and I hope this doesn't come to bite me later. But I still do my, I don't even want to call it 9 to 5, but I still go to the office that I work at, and all that. Then that particular salary, you know, I've not. Sometimes I don't even look at it. But I'm going to cut this out.
No, but this reminds me of like my national service time. That's when I started this whole Fiverr thing, right? It was 559. There will be like 3-4 months.
You wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, I prefer to go to the bank and withdraw like 4 months, so 500, 2K, and you say Yajiska, right? But I didn't like need that money because and another good thing that helped was, you know, currency games, the exchange rate.
Yeah.
So even if it was a small amount in USD,
still in the yeah.
You know, yeah. So that's it.
What would you say about multiple streams of income as a young guy?
I mean, what I'd say might be a bit controversial. I don't believe in having multiple streams of income. Though I kind of have multiple streams of income. I don't believe in that because, you know, we say the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, right? But we are usually confusing how people preserve their wealth with how they got their wealth, right? Bill Gates did not become Bill Gates by, you know,
multiple streams of income.
Starting one product business here, starting another service business here, doing a night shift here, he focused on one thing. So I'd advise everybody to start with one thing, laser focus, one thing. When that thing works and generates you enough money, then now you can look at ways to invest some of that money or diversify into multiple streams of income. But at the beginning, when you have nothing and your attention is
all over the place, it's going to be very, very difficult. So that's what I'd say. Yes. So let's talk a bit on high income skills.
Okay.
Right. It's the name sounds a bit explanatory, but when I still hear people talk about it, I feel they get it wrong. So I want us to talk a bit more on what high income skills are and certain examples of them, because I've been trying to get you to mention some examples of what high income skills are, and then we'll dive a bit more into that.
Okay, so let's say my mother walks into this room, right? My mother's like, "Oh, and Kwesi, you hear 100 CDs, they are Koto prepaid." Okay. And then I open my laptop. You just got paid $200. I gave her money. It looks like I just performed magic. That's what a high income skill is. It looks like magic.
So are you saying fraud is a high income skill?
You know let's talk about this. I honestly think people who do fraud, if they diverted their energy into genuine business ventures, they would make a lot of money. They would make a lot. Alone. The skills you have to learn. One, and please, as I'm saying this, not because I know. I watch a lot of, you know, like crime documentaries, and I like a lot of that stuff. Like, one, the scams where they steal people's information. Fishing. America, no, the social securities fraud and whatever. Yeah. One, you need to know where to find the data. So you scour the web for people's information. Then you get the information. Like, you now have to impersonate the person, speak in the person's language. You have to learn how to mirror the person's conversations. You have to learn to be able to convince people. It's amazing to me. You have to be able to convince somebody on the other side of the world who has never seen you before, never heard you before, to move money from their wallet into your wallet. It's not like you just...
That's sales.
That's sales. That is sales. And but this one, you have to be worried, actually, if, for my Nigerian brothers, if EFCC nab you right now, you could, but you don't have to worry about that if you're actually doing like a sales job, right? So I think that, like, they pick up some of the skills, and so fraud is not a high income skill. Fraud is a crime, and it's end you in jail, right? But instead of, if you're in that corner, you're thinking, no, let me go and do fraud, bro. No, that's not the way, right? Actually learn. Take time and learn some of these skills. I know that the fraud looks lucrative, but actually, as mothers will say.
Yeah. So you said any your mom comes into the room and asks you for, let's say, 100 CDs.
Yeah. We didn't finish that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're looking at high income skills, and I think I've said something along the lines of, one, it's something that's hard to do. A lot of people cannot do it, right? It is in high demand. The fact that now hard to do, it takes long to learn, doesn't make it a high income skill. For example, something like let's say in Ghana you decide to become an expert in archaeology. That's what you go to school for in Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I don't think they offer that course there. Who in Ghana
is looking for
is going to pay you to be an archaeologist? Unless you have an idea of how you are going to monetize it, the marketplace here is not going to respond to you. The fact that, or maybe you are an Olympic gymnast, you'll be hungry, right? So the marketplace plays a huge role. So it must be hard to do, take a while to learn. It must be in high demand. High demand means that even the average person doing it should be okay. Right, the average person should be able to command a decent price for it. So look at photographers. If I start photography today, I don't think it's saturated. I think I'm confident that within 2 weeks I can land my first client. Even 1 week. Right? So it's also a skill that you can charge at least 4 to 5 figures for. Right? If you're charging anything less, I don't think we can.
What if this high income skill is not my passion? So it brings us to the topic of passion and money, and following your passion, following your dreams, and monetization of that. The tricky line in the middle.
Do you know what I'm passionate about?
Tell me.
I'm passionate about helping people. Speaking to, like, and this like this is my heart. I like talking to people. I love talking to people about Jesus. I can't get paid for that. I love music. Right? Initially, you couldn't get paid for that, but now thank God for tech and all the infrastructure that's being built around music, right? But if your passion is, the gazing at the sun, the people that's what they're passionate about, just staring into the cosmos and, beholding all the beautiful things God has made. Nobody's going to pay you for that, right? You need to find a way to do something that makes you happy and be happy with what you are doing.
Right. So the reason why I'm asking this question is because looking at certain high income skills, we can see somebody playing football. That this guy, that's what I was saying, people get mixed up in the beginning, because this guy, this guy playing football, he has a high income skill, but at the end of the day, he's hungry, right? We see somebody drawing on a piece of paper, or they say he's an artist. This particular artist says that I'm passionate about this. Artist A is making $100,000. Somebody's made $4 million or $5 million, if I'm not mistaken, selling a banana somewhere as art. And somebody drawing with painting and all those things, not earning up to 5,000 Ghana cedis a month.
Yeah, that's because a lot of creatives operate like they're in a ministry. instead of an industry, right?
Could you, for the camera, please?
I said that's because a lot of creatives operate like they're in a ministry, right? Not an industry. A lot of like the artists selling a splash of ink for $100,000 has understood certain things about business, understood certain things about brand identity, which is he himself. That makes his splash of ink worth
more than
$100,000. And you probably went to all the schools and did all the projects, and you can even sketch you can draw me and show all the veins in my body, but because you don't have the business structures around what you're doing, you are going to be in trouble. So again, you need to learn skills in addition to whatever it is that you are doing.
Sporty bet. I know a lot of people that not a lot. I have a handful of people that will die on the hill that this is a high income scale.
It's a high income scale is also one where you're in control of the narrative, right? I understand the economy. Let me start with that. So I understand my brothers. See, at the barb pass, but betting cannot be a generational wealth building tool, right? It cannot. We often get into this thing where, we ought to do something, and then we look at one person that's the outlier. Say, if this guy made it, that means all of us. For example, let's look at our football, right? It's easy for every child in Ghana to look at Kudus and say, wow, if Kudus made it,
I can make it.
And that is absolutely true. You can make it. But the question is, will you? Well, let's look at the statistics. For every Kudus that there is, or every Semenyo that there is, or every Jordan Ayew that there is, there are probably 500,000 other guys who devoted all their time to playing football, but they never got anywhere. Why? Because the market is not here. Structures are still being put in place. So you definitely need to look at the market. Now, if we come to this thing of betting, and I always share this story. I have a friend of mine. I don't know whether it's God. I don't think it's karma because I don't know what he has done. But you and I can place a bet. Barca to score. Barcelona will score every game for the year. When he adds his own, that day, they will not score. Remember one day he was telling me of an incident where, Olivier Giroud, like a lot of the football people know Giroud. And Giroud was on a scoring spree. Back to back goals. And so when you know that you stake Giroud to score, at least that one is guaranteed, then you can do your first throw in and all of that jazz. Giroud to score. Man of God. Giroud is the striker. That day, Giroud went to catch. Giroud was in the goalpost. The goalkeeper got a red card and Giroud went to catch. It's like, what? And you can't tell me, see, unless you are Reverend Owusu Bempa, you can't tell me you can sit down on a spreadsheet and calculate that. Right? So my thing with betting is you don't necessarily
control the narrative.
Yeah, I'm not going to take 50,000, 10,000, 100,000 of my hard-earned money. There are some games you can play when you're a DB. But when you come from where we come from, there are some games you shouldn't play. Because when you go into the trenches, you are done. That's it. Nobody's coming to bail you. I'm not going to take 50,000 of my own money and going to put it into Lionel Messi's hands. That Messi, do it again. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't give a damn about me. I need to be in control of my own life. And if I'm going to make money, I have to make that investment into myself and be in control of my destiny. Betting is you putting your livelihood in somebody's hands. That's what I'd say.
Well, I like that. And I like how you're talking about how hard-earned money and basically throwing it away. That's just my opinion on that.
If you can afford to lose it, fine.
Yeah. I want to, just dive a bit deeper into that section where, I always say that making money is the easiest part of the equation, right? You can make money, right? You can make 5 CDs, you can make 10 CDs, you can make 100,000 CDs. But keeping that money is where saving. What would you have to say about that? How do you save your money? How do you keep your money? And how do you multiply your money?
Okay, so I'll talk about like some things I've done for myself. But like you said, and I'm sure everybody has this, it's in the atmosphere. It's in the Ghana air. Sikana hit your account no. Bring. Oh, and my school fees, bro. Charlie, I need some. Oh, you don't know. Like, you already have your budget, but all of a sudden, it's like the world knows. Like when you got the alert on your phone, it vibrated in the universe, and so now everything is just coming. So you need to have a system for your money. Now, especially if you are going the freelance route, right? I made this mistake, and I'm paying dearly for it, which is, so if I made, let's say $100, right? Let's use those low figures. That month, $100 was the money I made. So $100 is for me, and I spent the $100. I wasn't supposed to do that. I was supposed to run this as a business. If it's a business, you don't spend everything that comes in is not your money. Because you have to make investments too. Unless you can't be doing hand to mouth. You have to make investments. Maybe you'd have to invest in equipment. For example, I had some really good clients last year, right? And we're having back-to-back meetings. Guess what started happening? Doomso. And I can be in a meeting with all these super important people. CEOs and only Ghanaian. Lights out. And it used to piss me off, right? Because it doesn't paint a good narrative. But so now you need to go and invest in a power station. You need to go and buy this. So I had to do all these things if I didn't have money lying around. So first thing, when the money comes, section it, pay yourself a piece, right? Put the rest aside, right? Spend from what you've paid yourself. That's your salary if you were in a company. So you are in a company, you work for yourself, you are the employee. Pay yourself a salary. Leave the rest of the money in the business. Live according to the salary. And if you save out of the salary. And so most people save what is left. I don't save what is left. I spend what is left. So I save first. So I have a savings amount. So maybe I'm putting so and so amount. So the moment that let's say it's 5K hits the account. If 1K is what we are saving, 1K goes into the savings, then we spend what is left. So we budget what is left. So that's another thing. Another thing I used to do was I have a particular note. So every year I don't spend 20 cedis. So if I enter my house with a 20 CD note, it's going into savings. Right. So that's another thing that I used to do. There was a while any change that came from transportation, it saved. So there are different, strategies that just do what works for you.
Right. That is. We've spoken a lot about business. I know you're very, very faith-centered. What does the Bible have to say about making money, keeping money, saving money, and all that?
I would say,
because let me just say that, right? When we see somebody in the church, or when they say something like a pastor or any church leader making tremendous amount of money, they'd be like, there's no your right place to even be controlling such fortunes, right? What would you say about that?
I would say, I would ask a simple question though. And this is going to be very controversial. Let's look at Ghana. Let's look at the government of Ghana the past 4 years. Let's look at, for example, and people wouldn't like this example, but the Church of Pentecost in the past 4 years. Who would you trust with your money? We just got the release of the minister, I wouldn't say his name, of the whole issue that's happening, buying 27 houses at once, and all, I don't know the details of that, but that gives you an insight into human nature and how human beings are. If anybody should be controlling wealth, it should be people with integrity who we can trust, right? And I think some, not all, some church people, the church, the institution church, is one that God put in place to be able to take care of the world. So I don't think it's a problem. I do think it's something that we need to move towards. I think the problem rather is that for some churches, instead of kind of venturing into the marketplace, we only restrict ourselves to the four walls of the church and we just collect from the members. I think there's a higher level where we can go out there and shake the marketplace, because the church is very powerful. So I think that's what we should do.
Oh, that's quite brilliant. Let's end off with this question. I saved this question for last. Two things, right? Somebody watching us right now wants to do exactly what you do with digital marketing. What roadmap would you give? That's number one. Secondly, okay, you finish that and I give you the second question.
Okay, so you want to get into a space like us, or like what you do. This is the roadmap I'd advise. First, do some mindset framing. This is going to take time. And make peace with yourself, right? But have goals, aggressive goals. Take a course. Learn it. It can be Udemy, it can be ALX, it can be Coursera, it can be anywhere. Take a course. Can't you learn from YouTube? You absolutely can. But the problem with learning from YouTube is that when you are starting from the beginning, you don't know what you don't know. So you are not even sure what you are going to search for. Okay, you want to start learning photography. What are you going to do? You Google photography 101 or basics of photography. The person will skip something and you won't know that something had been skipped, right? And you won't even know to search for it. So you can learn on YouTube, all right, but the advantages of a course is that the tutor has structured it.
A proper outline.
Proper outline. That's the thing. So you know you go from here to here to here to here. So take a course. You can also look up Generation. Generation Ghana is doing like massive things. So they also train people. I think there's Thrive Africa. There are a whole lot of initiatives that are coming out to train people. You can Creation Unite. You can join a whole lot of.
Creation Unite is doing great stuff.
Yeah. Right. So you join these boot camps and all of that. Learn. That's the first thing. Then 2, after learning, demonstrate. Prove what you have done or what you've studied. Prove that you can generate results with it. Right. Don't just step into the marketplace without evidence of what you can do. Demonstrate, right? Then from there, I would say, if you can and if you have the time, understudy somebody. Go to somebody that's an expert. And that is an underrated way of making money. I remember being in school, and I think for a while I joined the entrepreneurship club, and I went for one meeting where one lecturer was talking about, and my mind was blown when he said it. I was like, can you believe these people call me for a consulting gig? They say they're going to pay me $7,000. I don't take any gig $7,000. I was like, what? 7,000. Today, $7,000 is over 100,000 cities. He says, so I just call somebody and I just refer them to somebody else. It's like, wow. So you can be in the network of these people who have gone to a point where certain gigs are below their pay grade. But for you, it's heaven. Right? If somebody has a budget of, let's say if we're doing copywriting, right, and I'm writing a sales page for you, and your budget is 500 cities, 1,000 cities, 1,005, 2,000, I will not do it. I will not do it. But for you starting, oh, come on. Do you know how I would have rejoiced if 2K, my first gig, I'd be happy. You see, so there are all these people who are willing. And one thing I've realized about the business space in Ghana, some part, people are very supportive. And when they see young people with the energy, with the drive, who are also willing to do the work.
That's true.
Like yourself and I have benefited from some of like these individuals.
Yeah.
Like just walk to people, let them know this is what you do. You'd love to help. You can offer your services for free or whatever, right?
You know, there's this culture that I've realized now, even people wanting to do internship with my company and all that, right? And we obviously have an allocation. We have slots for, like every year we have slots where we take a number of internships that we do. We offer paid internships.
Yeah.
I won't go on my LinkedIn. You can see all that, right? But people come, like for example, we are doing 5 paid interns every year, and after the 5 is done, people come 6, 7, 8, and they want a position. And we've already allocated the funds for the 5, and these guys are not willing to work for free. I'm not saying you should come and waste your time, but I'm realizing that because when I started, I did free work for a year before I got my first big check. But I'm seeing people not willing to do, they'll prove their skill first before they make money. So that's something that I think this culture is lacking in.
Yeah. Don't get this wrong. Like, these are people that we've been where you are, and if we're telling you, like, we don't believe in, let's say, doing free work or being taken advantage of. But when you don't have any value to offer or any demonstrable, like anything you can demonstrate, well, what exactly are you charging for? Like, you're coming to intern. Will my company be like, if you don't come into this company, I wouldn't even know you exist. My company will run fine. You get it? So, like, putting that price on yourself when you have nothing to offer doesn't make any sense. It's giving entitlement. The name of the game, like, listen, all you need is access. Like, somebody might be at home. Oh, I have my CV here. I can't get a job. Bro, it may sound silly. It may sound stupid. Put your CV together, send a message. When you go there, tell them you are going to do this and this and that. Tell them, first month, I'm going to work for free. If you hate my work, I disappear. You never see me again. If it goes through for you, you like it, you just keep paying me. Trust me, it will open doors for you. But most people are not willing to do that.
Yeah.
Most people are not willing to do that.
Well, I believe they don't even have skills to offer. 2 years ago, one of our talented developers left the country, going to further education, and we sent out CVs to hire new developers. So many wonderful CV applications came in. Did a bunch of interviews and realized that these people had a lot of theoretical knowledge and no practical skills to deliver. So that was tough. And I realized that there are really a lot of jobs out there. Just
a lot. Skilled
people to fill these positions is what is tough. Well, any final words that you want to give?
Final words would be, as young people, especially on the African continent, I believe we can be so much more than we think. In a Kojo Q song, he says something. I think the title of the song is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He said almost every rich person we know is either drug money, fraud money, government money, or it's God's money, right? And I think we should aspire to change the narrative. We have people who are doing great things in the continent, and we should aspire to be great. We should aspire to make Africa, I don't want to say worth talking about because they already talk about us, but only in entertainment and Afrobeats. But now in the entrepreneurship space, where we're coming up, and I think a lot of people should just devote themselves to learning and becoming the best versions of themselves so that we can represent ourselves on a global level. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. There you have it, and very, very, very powerful session that we had today. I'm definitely inspired, and I really hope that somebody takes this roadmap that we've given and becomes their own freelancer. And there you have it, guys. Very, very interactive session with Godfred Obeng, and I've been blessed and elevated. I really wish you could take out the roadmap that he gave you and apply it to your life. Personally, I'm taking my saving game to a whole different level. Like and subscribe. The team is trying our very best to bring you more content like this. So just like, subscribe, and share the link with somebody else. Cheers.